that an indictment about whether or not America is systemically racist? No, it is not. Those are
they're two totally different things.
Yes,
you're
yes, they
trying
are.
to merge the two, but they're two totally different things.
I agree with you. They're
but
two different things.
The
No, we're agreeing. We're agreeing. They're two different things.
We're agreeing.
No, we're agreeing they're two different things. We're not agreeing that there's not systematic racism because we're not in charge of the system.
We're agreeing.
So in case
we're agreeing.
Okay, all right.
Can we stop?
Black people have never been in charge of any system.
Bro,
actually, we have been. Take Baltimore.
No, we've never been in charge of any system. May I finish? Tell me what financial system are black?
He's trying to, bro. You gotta stop. What's going on, family? Welcome back to the FTB Reaction channel. Today we got Larry Elder sitting alongside the Breakfast Club. Things got a little spicy, man. So we're gonna skip the intro and get straight into this video. Let's go.
What are the reasons, if your statistics are right, what are the reasons that you think fathers aren't in the home?
As I said, it's because in the mid-'60s, Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. In Charlemagne, literally, they sent social workers door to door in the inner city. I remember this, advising women of the availability of welfare provided there was no man in the house. It created an economic incentive for women to marry the government. Same thing with whites. In 1965, 8% of whites entered the world without a father in the home married to the mother. Now it's about 25%, also up threefold. Look at census data, 1910, 1920, 1930, in places like Milwaukee, Chicago, Philadelphia, a young black kid was slightly more likely to be brought into a world with a father in the home married to the mother than a young white kid. We have incentivized this kind of bad behavior, and it's had a disproportionately bad effect on the black community.
Let me ask you a question. What do white people do wrong, Larry Elder?
What do you mean, what do white people do? I'm not worried about white people. I'm worried about what's going on with us.
I think Larry Elder's right here. I think if black people want to solve the problems within the black community, it starts with us. We first have to identify what the issues are and then come up with a plan to solve them. So with Charlemagne here bringing up other races, listen, that's cool, but that's not going to solve our problems. We have to hold ourselves accountable for the result and the actions of our own people first before we talk about somebody else's problem. But let's get back into it.
Mr. Elder, quick question. Let's just remove the word racism, since that seems to be a word that triggers, a conversation down the water hole. Let's just focus on the word system. Okay. You mentioned that the system was the one that discouraged. And again, we have no problem with agreeing that the family, the black family, should certainly has some room for some improvement. But let's just focus on system.
Room for improvement?
System. Well, we're not going to go down that water. We're not going to go down that water hole. Let's get to the question. So the question is, you said that the system encouraged black women to be single mothers, correct?
I said the welfare state, yes.
The welfare, the system. So who's in charge of the system? Who was in charge of the system?
Well, it was Democrats that passed it.
And who were Democrats? Were they black or white at that time?
Well, at the time, majority of black people were Democrats, as the majority of black people are Democrats now.
Not the voters. I'm talking about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who was in charge of the system at the time? The Democrats at the time, the system. I'm just going to Charlemagne's point about white or black. Was it white Democrats in charge of the system or black Democrats in charge of the system?
Well, if you're prepared to say that Lyndon Johnson did this viciously with an intent to destroy the black family, I disagree. He did it with the best of intentions. And if you look at the New York Times, which is left wing, the Washington Post, which is left wing, they cheered all of this.
Right, and what I'm asking was it white people, so I'm going to ask again in case my mic's not coming through clearly.
I ain't gonna hold you. The way she speaks to people, there's one thing to be blunt and there's one thing to be disrespectful. And I'm like, the way she speaks to people, I know we did a video of her talking to Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean, she got to do better than this, bro.
Family, it's a simple, just a simple question, white or black?
Well, you didn't have to go on welfare unless you voluntarily chose to go on welfare. The inducement was put there by Democrats, by the left.
Correct? Okay. Democrats,
most black people were Democrats, and they voted for these white people
Not
too.
voters. I said who's in charge of the system.
Well, who puts them in charge?
Was Lyndon Johnson white or black?
Who put them in charge?
Maybe that'll help you.
Fine. Lyndon Johnson was white.
Thank you.
Okay. But if your argument is that the reason he did it is because of racism, then I disagree. He did it because of
That's not my argument. I just asked you a simple question. Was he white or black? Charlemagne?
And
So what's the point of the question? Bro, come on, dog. Come on, bro.
Then I disagree. He did it because of
That's not my argument. Funny. I just asked you a simple question. Was he white or black? Charlemagne?
And Mr. Elder, you said you talked about the smash and grabs, right? And I find that interesting because, when you see the mass shootings that happen, majority of those people are white males. What do you think about that?
Actually, if you look at the percentage of whites in America, which is 60%, the percentage of mass shooters is under that. The percentage of people that commit hate crime is under that. The percentage of people who are serial killers is under that. Black people are 13% of the population. We commit a greater percentage compared to that
But no,
of
you
mass
specifically
shootings.
talked about the smash and grabs, though. So I was saying, since you're using that as an example, I'm saying, well, what about, the mass shooters that are usually white males?
One more time. They are usually white males because 60% of the country is white. However, they underrepresent in terms of the number of mass shootings. About 50% or so of the mass shootings in this country are committed by white people, even though white people are 60% of the population. They underrepresent. We overrepresent when it comes to hate crime, when it comes to mass shootings, when it comes to serial killings, when it comes to robberies, when it comes to virtually every category of violent crime. We overrepresent.
So what do white people do wrong? I'm gonna keep it.
Bro, why is you? Come on, bro. Come on. So Larry Elder is coming up here, right? The first thing he says is, you know what? Let's talk about Black issues. Let's talk about my plan or my goals to resolve Black issues. And we keep going back to this white guilt, this white victimhood. But what about white people? It's like, bruh, can we not have a conversation that addresses Black issues without referring to other races? Like we're smarter than that, bruh. All right. This conversation is like not doing us a good service here. I ain't gonna lie. Come on.
So what do white people do wrong? I'm gonna keep asking you that because I want.
It seems to me rather than deal with what's going on, the pathology that's going on in the inner city, you want me to talk about how bad white people are, which I don't think is a particularly productive thing to do.
Well, I think there's a cause and effect, but if we can't talk about the cause, which I believe is systemic racism and white supremacy, the FBI says.
Well, I just told you, if it's systemic racism, please explain to me how it was when America really had systemic racism in 1940. 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Again, this is during Jim Crow era. My father is from Athens, Georgia, grew up in Jim Crow. My mom is from Huntsville, Alabama, grew up in Jim Crow. 87% of blacks live below the poverty line. This is before Brown versus Board of Education. You did not find these kind of black on black crime.
Probably because we had no
But
choice
they still
but
were
to do it
living
ourselves.
below the poverty line, though, sir.
I'm sorry?
You're forgetting the fact that they were still living below the poverty line. You're picking and choosing, saying this was good, but this was bad.
Okay.
The bottom line, they end between the poverty line. But let's move forward on
Can I just address that? In 1940, 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. 1960, that number had fallen to 47%. That's a 40-point drop in 20 years. That's the greatest 20-year period of economic expansion for black people in the history of America. Again, well before Brown versus Board of Education, well before the KKK imploded, well before we had race-based preferences. Why? Because it was rare for a black kid to be raised in a family without a father in the home, a strong belief in Judeo-Christian values, a belief in patriotism, even as America wasn't applying these values to black people, obviously. And a belief in entrepreneurship. All those things are now under assault by organizations like Black Lives Matter. Charlemagne, Black Lives Matter had on their website an attack on the nuclear family. The founders are self-described Marxists, trained Marxists. Marx wanted to dethrone God, was an atheist, and Marx did not believe in capitalism, let alone entrepreneurship. All the things that made black people still survive in virulent racism are now under attack by organizations like Black Lives Matter.
All of those things have
So this is what I'm getting from this whole conversation so far, bro. I think the panel here is trying to hold folks from the past that are no longer here or existing anymore, you know what I'm saying, accountable for the actions that are taking place today amongst the black community. That's what I'm getting. But I'm like, bruh, Larry Elder's here to tell you, bruh, we can't keep going back 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago and keep blaming white people for the issues that are going on today in 2023 in our communities. At some point, bro, we have to take accountability, whether it started from somewhere else, from the left or the right, or whoever made the policy. Like, we have to come together and find solutions, bro. We have to have the conversations. And it's like, y'all keep hanging on to the past for what, bro? For what? That's not going to do you no service. That's not going to help nobody out. Telling people about what happened, that's not going to help anybody, bro. That mindset is more damn toxic than anything else I've heard so far today. I mean, it's just like, bro, it's backwards and it's not progressive.
The Tulsa massacre, within about 5 years, that whole area was rebuilt. It was not even called the Black Wall Street until after it was rebuilt. And it was rebuilt, by the way, by black people without one dime of government money.
Yeah, but who destroyed it to begin with?
It was racists who destroyed it. No question about it.
We've
We've had race riots, but so have Japanese.
So you do agree that there's racism? I'm just so confused.
I never even came close to saying. I never came close to saying there was no racism.
You just saying you don't think it's systemic racism?
Not anymore. Obviously, there was. We had something called slavery. We had something called Jim Crow.
That destroyed black. Hold on, sir. That was system that destroyed. That was the system that destroyed Black Wall Street.
It was not a system that destroyed Black Wall Street. Those were racist individuals who destroyed Black Wall Street, who all thought the same and believed in the same thing. That's not a system of the government. Those are individuals. All right. That's back when in those times, a lot of people thought like that, had those same views. But that's not a system, bro.
Do you believe that the system can destroy or not? You pick and choose, sir, and that's what's so confusing to me. You just said it wasn't racism. Now it is racism. When it was time to build it back, there was no racism.
I said it wasn't systemic racism. Let's talk about.
So what are you just hung up on the word system?
Can I just make this point,
Charlamagne,
please?
Speak, brother.
Let's take Chinese Americans. Chinese Americans were the first ethnic group to be excluded with an Immigration Act in the late 1800s. They had riots against Chinese in L.A., in San Francisco. There were laws that prevented Chinese Americans from participating in the laundry business. I'm in California. California, of course, rounded up Japanese Americans during World War II. There were laws that prevented Japanese Americans from owning farmland. The average Japanese American household has a higher per capita income than the average white household. The average Chinese American household has a higher per capita income than the average white household. How does that happen? It happens because of a strong belief in family. It is rare for a Chinese American or a Japanese American kid to have a child outside of wedlock, and a strong belief in education and a strong belief in entrepreneurship. These are the kinds of qualities that make people successful.
But when it's like when he gives you the facts and he tells you what's really going on and he backs it up with actual statistics, folks don't want to hear that, man. Because it's like the folks that don't want to work hard, the folks that don't want to go the extra mile to reach their goals or their dreams, the people that are stuck in the past, when they hear like facts and statistics, they hate it. Oh, it doesn't agree with my narrative. It doesn't agree with my narrative. All right. But it's like, bro, come on, man. We got to catch up to the times, realize what opportunities we have today. All right. Realize what's out there today. Now is the best time, if ever. If you ever had a dream or a goal, bro, right now is the best time to go for it, bro. There's never been, with the explosion of the internet, bro, and how videos are going viral left and right, bro. There's no excuse not to go after it. All right. It doesn't matter what race you are. It is what it is. Let's get back into it.
And so I'm just saying that technically is moaning about it because the governors decide. That's my point, sir.
I don't follow exactly what you're saying. I really don't.
It's okay. I didn't expect you to. But it's one moment.
I'm a little slow sometimes.
One moment. Yeah, we get it. One moment you're complaining about the system, and the next minute you're saying the system is fair. The next minute you're saying it's not fair. So that's what I'm saying. There just seems to be a double standard on you and the system, not wanting to be accountable for a system that black people are not in charge of, by the way, of not wanting to hold both sides accountable when it comes to the system.
Do I believe Hillary was treated differently and Joe Biden treated differently than Donald Trump is being treated? Yes, I do. Is that an indictment about whether or not America is systemically racist? No, it is not. Those are
they're two totally different things.
Yes,
you're
they
trying
are.
to merge the two, but they're two totally different things.
I agree with you. They're two different things. No, we're agreeing. We're agreeing. They're two different things.
We're agreeing.
No, we're agreeing they're two different things. We're not agreeing that there's not systematic racism because we're not in charge of the system.
We're agreeing.
So in case
we're agreeing.
Okay. All right.
Can we
black people have never been in charge of any system.
Bro,
actually, we have been. Take Baltimore.
No, we've never been in charge of any system.
May I finish?
Tell me what financial system are black?
He's trying to, bro. You gotta stop. Bro. You gotta stop, bro. I don't know who this is.
Take Baltimore.
No, we've never been in charge of any.
May I finish?
Tell me what financial system are black people in charge of? What healthcare system are black people in charge of? What government system are black people in charge of?
I'm about ready to tell you.
What prison system are black people in charge?
I'm about ready to tell you.
I'm not talking about mayors. I already know that talking point, sir. I go on Fox News all the time as well. So let's not go there with that. I said, what system have we created? Have we implemented that we have been in charge of? Name one.
Is this why you don't like talking to black women, Larry Elder?
Wow. What?
Well,
what? Bro,
there with that. I said, what system have we created?
Goodness.
Have we
I know he
implemented
ain't
that
just
we
say
have been
that.
in charge of? Name one.
Is this why you don't like talking to black women, Larry Elder?
I know he didn't just say that. Why would you ask what? What does that have to do with what's going on? But that's a terrible statement to make for two reasons. The first reason, you just generalized all black women to be acting like her, which they absolutely do not all act like her. I would say that's 1%. All right. And that's so disrespectful to black women, bro. To say, you know, this is how they behave and this is how they talk. Two, bro, you're gonna ask them this question, like, is that a real question? That's disrespectful to Larry Elder. What you talking about? Stop it, Charlamagne, dog.
Implemented that we have been in charge of. Name one.
Is this why you don't like talking to black women, Larry Elder?
Oh man.
Wow.
Wow.
Baltimore. Freddie Gray a few years ago.
No. That's mayors. I'm not talking. I said system.
I'm
Remember,
going to
like
tell
the
you
word
about
system.
this system if you allow me to finish my point.
I'm not talking about somebody elected and doing a job, sir. I asked, what system did we create? What financial
Okay, let's
system
talk
did we
about the
create?
system of one of the
Let him
largest.
say his point,
Thank you.
man.
One of the systems of one of the
Oh,
largest
man.
cities in America, Baltimore.
I'm still stuck on what Charlamagne just said. I'm not gonna lie. That was crazy, bro. That was so disrespectful. If black women ain't disrespected about what he just said, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I
One of the
really
largest-
Let
don't.
him say his point.
Thank you.
man.
One of the systems of one of the.
Y'all better light his tail up on Twitter or something. But that was
Did we
crazy.
create? What financial
Okay, let's
system
talk
did we
about the
create?
system of one of the
Let him
largest.
say his point,
Thank you.
man.
One of the systems of one of the largest cities in America, Baltimore. Freddie Gray died in police custody a few years ago. The mayor was black. The head of the police department was black. Number two.
It's not in
person-
charge of the system, but go ahead.
Number two
Oh,
person in
man.
charge of the police department was black. All
Still
of,
not in
all,
charge
of,
of the
all of
system.
city council, Democrats, majority black.
Still not in charge of the system.
Oh my
Six,
That's a
god.
position.
six officers charged, 3 of them were black. A judge before whom 2 of the officers tried their case, found him not guilty, was black.
Still not
the-
in charge of the system.
Oh,
city
Shorty, please.
intendant of public schools was black. The county superintendent of public schools was black. The attorney general at the time, Loretta Lynch, is black, as was the president of the United States, was black. And yet,
Still
many
not in
people-
charge of the system.
who's in
I-
charge?
That is the whole system. That's education. That's criminal. And we have a black president. And we have a black president, black mayor, black governor. Bro, that is the system. So if that's not what you're talking about, what, bro, you need it, bro. What?
Lynch is black,
I
as
can't
was the
make
president of the United
this
States,
up.
was black. And yet,
Still
many
not in
people-
charge of the system.
who's in
I
charge of
asked
the
you a
system,
simple
Ted?
question, sir.
well, Wanda Sykes said when
And it's bad because if you're going to have that type of mentality, he just named off basically damn near every high positions where you have control over, you can dictate stuff. All right. He just named all those positions with folks that currently held them. And if you're not talking about that, what are you talking about? That's the question. It's like, what are you talking about, dog? That those people he just named have, bro, so much power over all the systems that you're talking about that you're stating that you don't think are fair against black people, but black people are running the system in that city. Come on.
The
who's
system.
in
I
charge of
asked
the
you a
system,
simple
Ted?
question, sir.
well, Wanda Sykes said when Barack Obama got elected, how are you going to complain about the man when you are the man? Now, from the president to the attorney general to the state attorney to the mayor to the head of the police department
Cooking.
to the commissions of the schools in the city and in the county to the majority of
That
city
boy
council in that city,
cooking.
all of them are black. And you're still saying that we don't run anything?
So who's in charge of the
No,
system,
no.
Ted?
I said who created the system. I didn't say we didn't run anything.
Created?
I challenged a lot of those black leaders, by the way. I said who, when we talk about the system, what black people have been in charge of any system. I'm not talking about a position. I'm not talking about a mayor. You know,
And that's the thing. If white people were running that city, you would complain about that. And then you would say, oh, it's a racist city. But you can't say that because now it's like majority of the people holding those powerful positions are black. Well, you have to take a shot at that some kind of way, right? You got to make something up. Well, it's a bigger system than that. It's like, bro, stop.